enrolled in a PreAP course, they should definitely expect a more challenging, faster-paced class, more in-depth classroom discussions, intensified vocabulary, and an increased amount of required reading and writing, need for effective time management, and then just overall greater academic expectation as an assignments. So not necessarily always more work, but more in-depth work. And maybe the teachers, if they want to add anything else.
More reading at home rather than in the classroom. For me. What about you?
Same thing here.
And so, you know, reading on grade level helps when you're in a pre-AP class. Strong study skills, self-motivation. Right now you can prod, but they need to be able to do it themselves. Proficient oral and written communication skills, self-discipline to plan, organize, and carry out tasks to completion. And we try to baby step them in the beginning to let them learn that that's, you know, something they need. Interest and self-directedness in the subject. Helps.
Something else that we encourage you as parents with your brand new ninth grader, it may be a first time around for you to have a student in high school, but to encourage your student to advocate for themselves. If they're having problems in a class or if they have questions, and I'm afraid to come ask the teacher, which they will be, please tell them we won't bite. We're going to welcome any question they have. We are here to help them, but we want to have the student come to us and tell us what's going on and ask us the questions so that we can get to the root of the problem as quickly as possible. And so we have tutorials for the students, and we are here to help them, but we want them to advocate for themselves, you know, take that initiative on their own.
And the ninth grade counselor she usually creates a spreadsheet of kind of the tutorial times for every single ninth grade teacher. So that's always available before and after school for your students to go to that.
Another thing is budgeting time, especially if your student is involved in many extracurricular activities, whether it's band, choir, athletics, dance, anything like that. And so we highly, highly recommend some type of organizational tool. There are old school piece of paper calendars. There are apps for phones, and there are also, we allow students to take pictures of agendas so that they will know what is going on. And if you want to ask your student, what did you do in class today? And they know that they were supposed to take a picture of it. That will help you monitor what's going on and what some of their assignments may be. We do have projects in pre-AP classes. These projects are assigned well in advance, and it is highly recommended that a time budget schedule is made so that it's not a last minute thing, because you've never done a project with your student the last night before it was due.
Just something to kind of briefly add into that about what will show on their transcript. I know a lot of kids, if they don't do as well, and maybe the first 6 weeks they make a high C or B, they're worried, you know, their life is over and the college is going to see that. But on their transcript, the colleges and you on their transcript at the end of the year will only see their 2 semester grades. So that's the average of the 3-6 weeks. So that's just something to keep in mind, is if the first 6 weeks is really rough, and maybe your child makes a 78, 76, as long as it averages out to that B or the A that they're shooting for, no one will ever see that 6 weeks grade. So it just gives them time to recover. So that's something you can remind them as well, that they have the 3-6 weeks, and that's what will show then on the transcript. So kind of just along with that is, I guess some of our main themes in this presentation are just that grade expectations in high school are different than middle school. So even if your child is used to always making straight A's, the rigor is different in high school, and there's so many more students that they might be making not as high grades as they used to, but they're learning so much more, and that it just might be shown in a different way. The students will take 7 courses each year, minimum of 4 academic, 1 in each core subject each year throughout high school. Work outside of class is a huge part of their success in the classroom, so as much time they put outside, reading, learning up on the subject, the better their grades most likely will show. And definitely the freshman year, students are going to struggle probably with time management and organization more than they would every other year. Not to say they will struggle, but if they can get it down by the end of their 9th grade year, they should be set for the next 3 years of high school. And that's something I know last year I worked with a lot of kids, just kind of like we talked about on either an assignment notebook or taking pictures or just what system, emailing themselves, or something that will work for them.
Real quick, I just talked to a student that I had last year about differences between pre-AP and regular curriculum, and she told me this just within the last 30 minutes, that in middle school, pre-AP and regular classes are not that much different, but there is a greater divide at the high school level that is not immediately known when the students are coming up. So there is a higher level of expectation with that.
And one of the things that we talk about sometimes is student goal for the grade versus parent goal. And are they the same? Some of the kids are like, I'm okay with the C, parents are not, right? And so sometimes, that leads to good discussion. Okay, so if you want to connect with teachers, email. We get emails, some of us on our phones, at computers, that give us about 48 hours to get back. Sometimes we like to talk to your student to see what's going on so we can answer your question better. If you attend open house, you'll find out how and what electronic sources we use. I use Remind 101, Edmodo for her.
Edmodo.
Study was for me, but I like Edmodo. I'm learning it. So for this year. But App Parent Night will tell you what we use. And some of us update our websites more than others. It just depends on what works for us. And then you all will know what works for us so you can use it.
This is just a graphic that shows average time of grading. We have some very large class loads this year, and so sometimes when papers are turned in one day, it will not be graded the next day. And so this is just a graphic that shows, on average, for 150 students, 5 minutes per paper would take about 13 hours of grading. And that's just 5 minutes of paper. And at pre-AP, there is more writing involved, and so 5 minutes is not going to get a paper graded. So please be patient with the teachers. We are wanting to give the best feedback possible that we can to your student, and sometimes that takes time.
I think most of us have over 180.
We have about 180 students right now.
And I know sometimes it's hard with the grade book and everything you can see right away, but I think, just a reminder that the teachers are putting in the grades as soon as they can, and you can always ask the counselor if you want to find out, is it just like your student that's missing something, or maybe none of them were put in yet. So but definitely email. You can always utilize the 9th grade counselor, Mrs. Franks, as well if you have questions for the teachers, because sometimes she'll have more time to answer that since they'll be teaching during the day. So what do you do if your student isn't performing? These are just some questions to kind of ask them and kind of talk about with your student. Are they reading outside of class, going to tutorials, studying their notes, using all the resources, turning work in on time? Because a lot of teachers will accept late work, but it'll be penalized each day. So maybe that's why their grade is lower, just because they're not turning it in when it's due. And then like Ms. Nunn said, are their goals the same as yours? Maybe to them a B is what they're okay with that, and they think they're doing great. So.
Go ahead.
And then one thing, what if I chose the wrong level course? Both with the pre-AP and regular, all the counselors are very flexible the first 2 weeks of school. If you feel like your students in, let's say, regular world geography and you would like them in the pre-AP, turn in a grade change for them, the counselor will change them to the higher level class. And the same with the opposite. If pre-AP biology is a little too hard and they want to change to regular, that's an easy switch. We just always recommend doing that the first 2 weeks or as soon as you realize that your student's not in the right class. But it's not too late. Whatever they picked at this moment can still be changed. We just ask, we have forms, the counselors will hand them out during lunch to the students, and we ask that you guys sign, the parent, and then usually the teacher, just so that the teacher at least has a chance to have that conversation. Maybe they can stick the class out, and sometimes you guys, I remember last year, would want the students to stay, and it would just kind of be conversations of, no, stick it out, like, this is a good fit for you. So it can go either way.
So, go ahead.
So, and then one thing, what if I chose the wrong level course? Both with the pre-AP and regular, all the counselors are very flexible the first 2 weeks of school. If you feel like your student isn't performing, these are just some questions to kind of ask them.
12 minutes.